some creepy man touching your balls. Anyway, hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast, episode number 29. Hello, a croeso I podcast rhif 29. I'm joined today, me being Gareth Evans obviously, by Mr. Henry, get your testes tested, Cooper.
It's a good idea. I mean, you got to make sure everything's in top nick down there.
Get them tested, isn't it?
I always feel like I should go to the doctors because I feel like it's been so long since I've been. I just should have like
it's too healthy. You're just far too healthy.
The complete opposite. I feel like, you know, when you're like in your 60s or something, they say, well, you need to have an annual physical or whatever. I feel like I should probably get one.
Yeah. That's working in this place too long. That's what it does to you. It grinds you down. Your bones just disintegrate. They go to dust. I'm working so hard in this place.
No one said that.
Who are we kidding? Nobody believes that. So in today's podcast, what are we going to talk to him about, Henry?
Well, we were going to do some newsy stuff, but then we realised we couldn't be bothered.
We're going to do this controversy, then that controversy, then that follow-up to this controversy or non-troversy. Anyway, but we decided, sack that shit. You get that from every other gaming channel. What you don't get is what our ideas today for the podcast, right? Which is awesome.
This is just Gamescom chat.
Let's talk about
completely original idea.
Yeah. Well, the idea was like E3 came along a few months ago, and then we had loads of news to talk about that wasn't all controversy and like outrage and scandal and all that stuff. We had actual games to talk about.
That's the bit that grinds you down.
Yeah, exactly. Positive, good things to talk about, right? And then all that news wore off, and then now it's back to like totally like nitpicking with the smallest minus problems in the game, and like the whole of the media's asset, the gaming journalism media, they're all at it, right? Picking holes with this and that, and it just grinds you down. So we thought, like, what's coming up? What's positive to look forward to? I know Gamescom's coming next week. Let's get excited for some more trailers and announcements and games and everything awesome that's going to be coming in the next few months after Gamescom. So that's what we're doing today. We're trying to keep it positive, guys, because it grinds everyone down. Like I said, your bones being ground to dust is no joke. That's what it feels like sometimes covering gaming news. But today we're going to keep it positive. We're going to be looking forward to Gamescom, which happens in Cologne, Germany, from the 20th to 24th of August, which is just next week. It kicks off on 19th with some conferences, not as many as E3, and that's not what Gamescom is really about anyway. You get a lot more news from the show floor on Gamescom. Yeah,
they say Gamescom is the biggest, but I think that's debatable because it depends on what your measures of big are. There's fewer things at the event, but it's because it's a bit smaller in terms of how long it takes. It's fewer days, but it's more compact, I think.
Yeah, I think there's more. I think in terms of gaming events, I think there's a bigger one, like as in more floor space in Asia somewhere, but this is the biggest one in Europe or the US and the Western world at least. So Gamescom is like the biggest show, but there's not as many conferences like E3 because that's all about like razzmatazz.
Yeah,
right?
It's less of a show, and it's just here's a bunch of games. It's
put on by the ESA, a bunch of industry executives who end up just throwing your information out there into the known universe, so that people can dox you and stuff like that if you attend. So, there's another one controversy that we're touching on, but just skimming around so they don't have to go deep into it. So we're going to go in deep on Gamescom, what to expect, what we know, and what we can glean what's going to happen. Maybe a few theories and speculation as to what we would like to happen, like to hear about, as well as after that we're going to be taking the Discord questions from the patrons, and then the Triggered Fanboy comment of the week, which this week, it's beautiful. It is beautiful this week. Look out for that one.
I'm very excited for this.
As well as after that we're taking some YouTube comments, just in general, just some general triggered fanboys. Not just
they could be triggered, they could be pleasant. Who knows? We don't.
Who knows? We don't.
Right, so Gamescom, we briefly just said it's from the 20th to the 24th of August, so it's like next week, I think.
Is it it certainly is. Yeah, Monday it starts. 19th. Well, 19th is when the conferences are, and then Tuesday onwards after that is when the show floor opens. People get to walk around and play games and stuff, which is exciting.
And it's got Mr. Jeff Keighley, who basically, his job is just be at every game event and host everything and just talk to people.
He's the face of the gaming industry right now.
He really is.
He does everything.
Yeah. So, there's going to be an Inside Xbox conference, which is on Monday, the 19th. And there's a few different times, depending on where you are in the world. UK time, that will be at 5 p.m, so 1700. EU time, which I don't really understand what that means.
Central European Standard Time, 6 p.m.
That's the one, CEST, at 6 p.m. Eastern time is midday.
Yep.
Yeah, 12 noon, as opposed to midnight. And then West Coast is 9 a.m. So it's kind of a bit all over the place, depending on where you are in the world. Then the next conference up is also on the Monday. That's Google Stadia, and that's at 6 p.m. UK, 7 p.m. EU, 1 p.m. East Coast, 10 a.m. West Coast. Okay, so just
well done.
Make sure there's too many different time zones here, and reading it in going from 24-hour AM to PM as well is really.
That's Google Stadia, by the way.
Yeah, Google Stadia.
The Google Stadia, Google are having their own conference. There's like one of the 3 conferences this year is Google Stadia, the streaming platforms. Like, what does that say?
They're coming in as the big kid in the playground. He's came from the other school. He transferred over, and he's here. He's like, boom! Yeah, I've got Pokemon cards that you don't.
And he thinks he's popular, and he's getting a lot of hype around him. And you're thinking, well, hang on a minute. We were popular last week.
Yeah, like he's not actually interesting. He just bought a bag of sweets.
Yeah,
and that's what everyone.
What happens when the sweets run out?
Exactly.
When everyone gets like a sugar fix and they go hyperglycemic because they're all like shaky and stuff. What happens then?
I'm really into this analogy. It's actually worked quite nicely. But anyway, after Google Stadia's conference, which is called Google Stadia Connect, there's Gamescom opening night live, and that's again on the Monday at 7 p.m. UK, 8 p.m. EU, 2 p.m. on the East Coast, and 11 a.m. on the West Coast.
It's literally an hour after one another.
Yeah, so you can just watch
Inside Xbox, 5 UK, Google Stadia 6 UK, and then the opening night live thing. We'll go through exactly what is going to be in these conferences to see whether you're going to be interested in watching or not. But it's essentially 3 hours worth of presentations from these big companies. So one after another. It's not a big undertaking. They will be live streamed on the Gamescom YouTube channel as well as Twitter account, as well as Mixer account. So the trifecta, try something or other platforms of streaming.
Maybe someone will actually be on Mixer now that Ninja's there, because that's the big thing, isn't it?
Might get a few.
Microsoft own it, so if they're putting up a show, they're going to put it on their own platform. So
that's it. So first up, the Inside Xbox conference, right? So we've already said when the time is. So what to expect at the Xbox conference at Gamescom?
Yeah, they did a little sort of, not really, I wouldn't necessarily call it a trailer, but it's more like a sizzle reel of, here's a few games we're bringing, what kind of things to expect. So they're going to do Ghost Recon Wildlands multiplayer reveal, if anyone fancies that. It's not one I've really got on my radar, to be honest.
I played the Ghost Recon Wildlands closed beta, which is under NDA, so I'm not allowed to say anything about the game, so therefore I can't say anything other than I'm probably not going to be that interested.
It is a game that you have played an early version of.
Yeah, it is something I've played an early version of, so I'm not allowed to discuss what I thought about it. So therefore we should probably move on.
Enough said there. This one I am kind of interested in. It seems kind of fun. It's called Empire of Sin. And that's essentially like a 1920s gangster version of XCOM. It's one of these like kind of isometric strategy RPG type things, but it's all New York, Chicago gangsters like Al Capone and all that.
That's interesting.
So it looks quite cool.
So a little bit of info. It's developed by Romero Games, published by Paradox Interactive, who are well known for the strategy games, obviously. Coming on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Microsoft Windows, and Mac, and Xbox One. It's planned for release second quarter of 2020. It wasn't on my radar. I'd not heard anything about it, but interested just for the aesthetic alone, really.
Yeah, the aesthetics looks cool. It's very, very noir, very,
it actually
dim lit, and then a few street lamps illuminating stuff. I think it looks pretty cool. Nothing like incredibly groundbreaking, but again, we don't know because this is the gameplay reveal. There's tiny bits of gameplay in the other trailer. Yeah. But it's not really anything. So this should be cool. Keep an eye out for that.
Defo.
There's going to be some stuff about Destiny 2 and their upcoming expansion called Shadowkeep. And you may not care because, it's just another Destiny expansion. It's what they do. But as far as I'm aware, this is their first big expansion since going solo and leaving Activision. So this is them it's their first time to really prove themselves as a self-publisher, doing it themselves. And they put up a little like a vlog thing. It's about 15 minutes long. Them saying like, it's our new start for us. It's almost like a Destiny 3 for them in terms of the way they're approaching it. They can refresh and come at it in a brand new perspective. Although I don't have it in front of me, but I saw something, I think it might have been on gamesindustry.biz, about Bungie want to redo the way they do things because the workload is really like intense and it's not sustainable. And I think that's partly to do with this because they've been knocking out seasonal expansions and whatnot. So now they can kind of do it the way they want to. There
was a lot of talk about crunch in the industry, especially around the release of Red Dead Redemption 2. A lot of articles being written, a lot of people come under scrutiny, and so it's quite a popular thing to be saying as a company now, as a development studio, to be saying we're against crunch culture. We're just going to take our time with it. It's going to come when it comes, and it's perfect for Bungie now. Under who've escaped from Activision now, they don't have to abide by anyone else's publishing schedule. They can just do what they want when they want, and because they're independent, they've got the freedom to do that, which is great for them, and as a kick-on, great for gamers as well, because they're probably more chance of looking after you than Activision were, because their priority was looking out for the investors.
And I liked Destiny 2, but I didn't love it. So I feel like if Bungie can do it themselves, and by the time they eventually do a Destiny 3, that could be the one that gets me to say I love it. So hope for that. Gears 5, they're going to show some stuff off. It's obviously one of Microsoft's, probably their biggest first party exclusive title, because Halo's not until next year, I don't think.
And it's just around the corner now. Gears 5, it's
in September
the 10th. Obviously Game Pass users, I think, get them 5 days early, which is going to be, we're going to be all over it. I think, early September. So that's a couple of weeks. I mean, you're talking, it's the mid-August now, so that's 3 weeks away, 10th of September.
Basically, but they're specifically planning to show off Horde mode. And if you don't know, Horde mode is basically it's like waves of survival, and you just got to kill all the enemies to see how long you take. So many games did Horde modes back in the day, and I kind of think of it as like Horde modes were what Battle Royale is now. Everyone's doing Battle Royale, but they used to be doing survival things. I don't expect much, because Horde mode, you know what you're getting. And one of my issues with Gears is it hasn't really innovated, but this could be an opportunity to prove me wrong. So next up, they're going to show off some Battletoads, which
is Rare's latest thing, isn't it?
I think it's kind of odd that it exists, but I'm kind of happy. I quite like Battletoads. I never played the originals, but I loved the art style of it and everything. When they came out, they were known for being really freaking hard, and when I was a kid, I was just like, no thanks. But I'm not going back to it as an adult.
It's a platform beat 'em up, apparently. I say apparently because I've never played it, but developed by Rare, who are known for Sea of Thieves. You probably heard of that one. But again, this is one of the ones that slipped me by, from the early 90s. And it's been remade or reimagined, I don't know. But
I think it is a sequel, but that doesn't necessarily mean much.
We'll probably find out more at Gamescom.
And the only thing I know about Battletoads is that it exists because of the Ninja Turtles. They created it as a rival to the Ninja Turtles.
That's why Battletoads can get to fuck then.
Because the Ninja Turtles are better.
I remember when I was 9 years old, queuing up at the cinema just to watch the movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was like, Ninja? We're hero turtles in our country. And because we were right at the front of the queue with a bunch of like 5 of us, and we got there like really early morning just to get into the cinema right there, so we could get our preferred seats. God, we were nerds, but it was fun.
Comment below who your favourite Ninja Turtle is, and if it's not Raphael, you can fuck off, because he's the best one. You're looking like you don't know which one he's the red one with the what are they called? Are they called scythes?
Yeah. So it's Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Raphael, and you're right, absolutely right. Raphael's the best. Raphael's the best, and at me, bro, if you don't believe me.
Next up is some more Blair Witch stuff. Don't really know what. It's probably going to be some gameplay, because I feel like there was so little gameplay shown at E3. If Gamescom can capitalize on that, they can basically win the year and Gamescom was so much better than E3 because it had all this gameplay.
Sure.
Next up is a game called Vigor, which I didn't know anything about until I looked it up today. But apparently, it's been in development for ages. It's like 5-6 years, something like that. It's essentially like a DayZ type multiplayer post-apocalyptic action survival shooter thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been made by Bohemia Interactive, who are known for the Armour series, right? So this is going to be like a simulation type shooter. So it's going to be a gritty, real type experience rather than your arcadey.
Yeah.
That's what you can assume by the fact that it's Bohemia,
and apparently it's
free to play, loot and shooter. So
yeah, apparently it's not a battle royale, so to speak, but it is. You drop into an area. There's a bunch of enemies, free for all type thing.
Yeah.
But the objective isn't just to kill everyone immediately. It's more about looting and scavenging and finding resources and stuff. As like your primary motivation. And they said like you want to maybe hold off on killing someone until they get something that you can then steal from them, rather
so
than
it's
just
worth killing them.
Yeah, exactly. So that could be cool.
That looks interesting. Initial release date says here 30th of July 2018. So maybe is it early access? It looks
I think it might be early access, but apparently they're showing some stuff off. But there you go.
See where it is in its development anyway.
Yeah. They're also going to be showing off Bleeding Edge. Now, this is the new one from Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory did the Devil May Cry reboot spin-off thing where Dante was all edgy and not very good. Great gameplay, but story and characterization was a bit off.
Mm-hmm.
And they also did Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice,
which is one of my favorite games a couple of years ago.
This is the 4v4 multiplayer melee action game, essentially.
Yeah.
Seems a lot like Overwatch in the sense like they're big colourful hero classes and whatnot, but it's all melee focused, so we're supposed to be getting some gameplay of that.
Yeah, this was announced in E3.
Yeah, this is an E3 one.
It was revealed before E3 because there was some sort of like leak. Everyone was like, oh, is this all it's going to be? And it kind of took the shine off the announcement, right?
I think because it is Ninja Theory, they've got a good track record. People kind of expected more, but because it's Ninja Theory, I'm still kind of, this could be really cool. And then that's kind of it for games that were said in the trailer. We'll probably get some other bits and bobs.
Yeah.
It's like little surprises. There's going to be some Game Pass news apparently as well.
Yeah. And they're also going to announce some accessories, which is all good for the collectors and stuff like that. But, I mean, in general, an Xbox conference, I mean, I don't know if we're going to get to see the big man Phil Spencer himself, but they're always worth tuning into. I mean, E3, it was my highlight of E3, obviously the Cyberpunk and the whole Keanu Reeves thing.
Yeah, they could just show some Cyberpunk stuff off out of nowhere, just like boom, surprise.
Obviously, it's a little more low key than E3 is because that's all like razzmatazz and all that. So we'll see what we get. I mean, hopefully, there's always going to be new game announcements, which is always worth tuning in for, in my eyes. So if it didn't catch it earlier, 5 p.m. European time, that's local time. It's 4 p.m. for us in the UK. Eastern time. Oh no, am I getting these confused? I've got a different time here. Yeah, 6 p.m. 5 p.m. UK, 6 p.m. European time, 12 p.m. on the East Coast, and 9 a.m. midday, East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. So tune in to that. It's probably going to be one of the highlights if you're looking for lots of announcements and gameplay type stuff. And then next up is the Google Stadia Connect, which is an hour later. I won't go through the times again. You're probably bored of it already. But Google Stadia Connect. So this is another hour of them to try and sell us Google Stadia.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are not interested in Google Stadia, you're probably not going to be sold on them talking about it for another hour. You already know a lot of information about it, and we covered it when they announced it, such as the Google Stadia is releasing in November with the Founders Edition for 120 quid or $130, and only if you can only get access to Google Stadia in November if you buy the Founders Edition. If not, you're going to have to wait until the base model, as it's called, becomes available next year. No date solid for that. And so far, the pricing on the base model is free, but that's 1080p, 60 frames a second, and only gives you a stereo sound. But you can upgrade to the Pro subscription, which is £9 a month, $10 a month, which gives you 4K, 60 frames per second, HDR and 5.1 surround sound, and discounts on game purchases. Now, that's all separate to the games themselves. Now, they said Destiny comes as part of it or something.
Something like that.
The founders back, but we don't know exactly whether games are going to be thrown into the subscription or how many games are going to be thrown into the subscription. The implication is that all the games you buy are going to be on top of this subscription itself. So if you want to play 4K games, you have to pay $10 a month plus buy the games separately. Yeah. And if you stop paying that $10 a month, you're shit out of luck, dude. It's a bit silly. It's like $10 a month just for access to the games that you buy separately. Sounds a bit like, I don't know.
Well, I feel like you could just get a decent enough gaming PC on like finance, because a lot of places you can pay for it in installments. Set up a plan that's basically that, and then eventually you'll have your own kit at the end of it.
I feel like the next generation of consoles will have to have some sort of subscription model. And if you think about the Xbox, they're going to be doing, the rumors are they're going to be doing a second model of the new Xbox that's coming next year, but without a disc tray, which means that you're probably going to get a subscription in with it. So if you imagine paying like $20 a month, you get your hardware as well as your software, the Games Pass, where you can download and install onto your hard drive without the physical discs. That seems like a much better way of doing it. Or again, on a PC, if you get finance and just pay it off monthly, you're a lot better doing that. In my eyes, I mean, that's just my interpretation of it. For like 3 or 4 years subscribing to Google Stadia, and you've paid for a fucking
and there's no guarantee that their prices won't change. Netflix is, I think they just have or are about to go up.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what we expecting to learn from Google Stadia at this point? Like we said, we've got the pricing, we've got the service details, and kind of the release date. Maybe they'll come up with a solid release date as to when the base model is launching, or when like the non-Founders Edition supporters will get their hands on it. But we also have a list of the developers and games that are coming to the platform. Now, the big reveal from E3 was Baldur's Gate, made by Larian Studios, which was a big coup for them. A fan favourite, Larian Studios, making the isometric RPG follow-up to Baldur's Gate, which is another hugely successful. It's like a dream team of a collaboration there. So that's a big one to look out for. A kind of game that would work well on the streaming service. You don't need your Twitch shooting type, high response rate type of thing. It kind of fits well. It's a good choice in terms of streaming service. So that's what I'm looking out for, really. The other ones, which, if you're a Football Manager fan, for example, Sega are bringing Football Manager to Google's Stadia. They said that again, it's another game that, if you're playing on a high-end computer, or you could play on your mobile phone while you're commuting. That's the type of thing that would work really well on Google Stadia. So again, that's the type of thing that works well. Other developers on board, Bethesda, are going all in. It seems they're bringing Doom Eternal, Doom 2016, Rage 2, The Elder Scrolls Online, Wolfenstein Youngblood to the service. How well these shooters are going to work on that service is still yet to be seen. The response rate and how slow it's going to be is always the question mark.
Games like Doom, which are meant to be played fast, very fast, and from what everyone else has said who's had hands-on with Doom Eternal, it's meant to be really bloody good and really fast, and essentially just an upped version of Doom 2016, which I loved.
I can't see many people who are fans of those Bethesda games going in and thinking, yes, I'm going to get it on Google Stadia, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, because it's not the type of game you might want to play on your mobile phone while you're commuting. Yeah. It's not the type of game that you would make full use of the fact that you're able to play anywhere in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those Twitch type shooters, you've got to be really, engaged in, and
it
doesn't work.
I feel like if they did a Bethesda RPG like a Fallout or a Skyrim or even a Oblivion, for instance, that could work a bit better, because then you could just hop in, do a quest on your own, and you don't have to worry about multiplayer or shooting quickly or anything. You could just enjoy the world while you're out in the world.
Might be a better fit, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So Metro Exodus is coming as well.
Yeah, apparently Deep Silver have announced that they are already working on whatever the next Metro game is.
Yes.
Which is kind of odd, considering the Metro Exodus only came out in, when was it, February?
Well, it did really well, see.
It did do very well.
Due to the back of that, I mean, it's the best it's the best performing game in the franchise so far. Their third installment. People are getting into it now. So it would make sense for them to harness the popularity of that and to go forward trying to make something else. It makes a lot of sense for them to work on that again straight away, which they are. So it's good news for the fans. EA are involved, but they have not announced any games that they're bringing, which is weird. They kind of, we want to put our games on the Switch, but not really on the Switch. They brought FIFA onto the Switch in like a scaled down version, but they've not really gone all in like the Bethesda have on other platforms, for example. So EA, it's still a question mark over what EA are going to bring. Again, what EA games would you like on the streaming service? Maybe it's a good fit, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Rockstar are on board as well. Again, games as yet unannounced. So we're going to see Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Google Stadia. I mean, it's the type of game that you need every waking hour to complete. So maybe playing that on your commute is
you play it when you get home on your system, and then you play it on your phone, like on the train on the way to work. Play it at work on your phone on your lunch break
when you're on the shitter. Because you need to get in those missions, those side missions. So maybe that works. I don't know. We'll hear what Rockstar's going to bring to the platform, and then we got Square Enix, who are bringing Final Fantasy, Tomb Raider, Definitive Edition, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and others which I don't have here, I guess. So Square Enix are on board. 2K.
Yeah, they're very keen. I think they're meant to be bringing FF7 when that comes out, or am I making that up? When the remake comes out, I might be lying.
Don't lie to me, Henry.
Well, I know definitely in one of their trailers from E3, it had the big Stadia logo at the end. So they're definitely really keen on the streaming stuff.
Sure. 2K are bringing NBA 2K and Borderlands 3 to the service.
If there's anyone left who wants to play Borderlands 3.
There's always people who want to play Borderlands 3. And then Ubisoft are going all in, it seems as well. They're bringing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Just Dance, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, The Division 2, Trials Rising, and The Crew 2. So there's a lot on offer there from
Just think, you
Ubisoft.
Can play Just Dance on the train with people. Get everyone involved.
Who wouldn't want that proposition?
Jazz up your morning commute.
So that they're like the big ones. And aside from that, we know Mortal Kombat 11's come in, Darksiders Genesis, Guilt from Tequila Works, whatever that one is. I don't think I've put a lot of research into that one. Samurai Showdown is coming. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, Farming Simulator 19, yes! What we all need to be. Imagine all those actual farmers who are going to be able to play Farming Simulator 19 while they're working on their tractor out in the field.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to plough fields while they're ploughing fields.
That's the dream.
That is living the dream, and only Google Stadia can make it happen.
You can work, and even in your leisure, you can work and do the same thing.
Other than that, Bandai Namco are supporting Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. We will have Get Packed from Coatsink, Grid from Codemasters, Thumper from Drool, as well as others. Hopefully we will get more info at the time. So that is it for our Google Stadia. What do we want from Google Stadia other than them to tell us that it's going to work perfectly and that lag isn't going to be an issue?
Yeah, that's all they need.
That's it. They just need to. It's like put your money where your mouth is now, isn't it? You want us to pay this money.
You've said there's all these games, and that's great, but I want to know how it functions.
Yeah, there is a free version for 1080p streaming. Oh wait, there's always that option available for players who are a bit dubious about paying the subscription for it. So I guess there's that, but still, you're paying for these games and you don't really know what the service is going to be like. Hopefully, you'll be able to, hopefully you'll be able to demo games and stuff.
You need a 200 meg down speed though, don't you? I think that's what they said. And so, funny because we were talking about this in the office earlier. I was watching The Boys yesterday. Really good show on Amazon. Recommend it. There's a bit where he says he's trying to hustle to get inside the house, and he says something about, we can get you a 1000 Mbps, and I just kind of slumped in my seat like, can you imagine having 1000 meg down speed? Yeah. What could you achieve? You could do anything. But anyway, after the Stadia conference, there's the Gamescom opening night live conference, and I don't really know what this is.
It's just Jeff Keighley going, hey!
Yeah, here's my friends.
Up, getting like a hype boys.
Yeah, he's the hype man.
Yeah.
Here's Hideo Kojima. Oh, wait, no, he's over there. He's just doing what he wants. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, Hideo Kojima, it's worth talking about. Yeah. He's guaranteed going to be there. He's confirmed he's going to be there. And unlike E3, where everyone was like, oh, we're going to see Hideo Kojima, it's the best kept secret. And then he didn't show up, and everyone was like, we never said he was going to come.
Yeah. Oh, classic Kojima, saying he's going to come but not coming, but he didn't actually say he was going to come.
Yeah. So he's definitely coming. Hideo Kojima will be there. Jeff Keighley will be there as well. They can, they'll get together.
Canoodling backstage.
I mean, they need some.
I think they are gaming's. Like Brad and Angelina right now is Jeff Keighley and Kojima.
Kojima's a bit of a sly one because he's the
Brad Pitt.
He's got so many he's got so many on the go. You look at his Twitter account, and he's taking all these like glorious pictures of the actors and stuff in his.
So he's hanging out with Mads Mikkelsen or like random bands and other like artists and creators and shit.
Yeah.
Well, presumably he's going to show off some Death Stranding stuff. Hopefully. More than anything, I just want an extended gameplay, like live play, not a trailer. I want someone playing it and showing what we're actually going to be doing, because all we've seen is climbing mountains, running through wilderness, and awkwardly dodging people with cattle prods.
Cattle prod
as he carries UPS boxes on his back or whatever.
And like outside of some kind of story trailers where a character explains how many books he reads and how many DVDs he owns and stuff, and how he dies every 21 minutes.
Yeah, I think for Death Stranding's marketing, they don't need to bother with this story crap anymore. They could have stopped ages ago, because most people who are interested in how weird and stupid that story is going to be are already sold on it.
On board.
You don't need to convince anyone. You're preaching to the choir at this point. The people who have reservations, they're the ones you need to convince. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm probably going to get it anyway because I like what Kojima makes, and it's going to be weird. It could be really shit, but I want to see what it is. It's new. It's interesting. But we need to know what the gameplay is.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Definitely. It's one of them where I'm like, come on, Hideo, impress me, dude.
Mm.
I don't really. I'm not any connection with your previous games. Really, not a big fan. Doesn't mean I hate you, but it's just not a huge fan as I would be with other games. So this offering is like a whole new offering. It's on you now, Kojima. You don't have anyone like translating the words for you this time. We're gonna get in trouble.
Bring that one up.
Yeah. I just like to see where it's going to be. So I don't believe the hype, that's for sure, and I want to be impressed. So impress me.
And you've not got long left to impress before the game comes out, because it's out on November the 8th. So it's only
it's weeks.
Yeah,
it's weeks now.
It's like 10 weeks. Something
ready
like
to come.
No, that might be a lie. Oh well. But Death Stranding and Kojima are there, but PlayStation and Sony aren't. There's no big Sony presence, right?
Yeah, same as E3. For the second year running now for Gamescom, PlayStation will not be there showing anything. So of what we're going to hear about them, it's going to be in one of these conferences or in someone else's booth. They've only actually got 2 exclusives coming out that they're talking about. So they recently posted a blog post talking about the titles that are coming in the second half of 2019, and of that, the 30 or 11 games that they listed on their blog, only 2 of them were exclusive. So they were saying Wolfenstein Youngblood, Control, Borderlands 3, FIFA 20, all these are games coming up next year, as well as Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The Outer Worlds was one, which is weird because they're now owned by Microsoft, although they're getting published by Private Division currently for the Outer Worlds. So Medieval, which is one of their exclusives, Death Stranding, the other exclusive, and then Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Doom Eternal were the games. Like, they were trying to, the whole point of that blog post was like, be excited about having a PlayStation because all these games are coming to our platform. And for once
most
in a blue
of them
moon,
are going to other people.
Yeah, once in a blue moon, they've only got 2 exclusives. Not really a lot of exclusives to get excited over, but
still no release date on Dreams.
True,
which is still in early access and has been for a little while now, but there's no word on when that's coming out.
That's true. It's like Sony are just in low power mode. They're just like saving batteries right now.
Yeah, I think they're getting ready for the next big next year when new consoles come out.
Well, that's another question. Like, this is going to be in our. I mean, since we jumped in on it now, like Microsoft have already announced that they're working on a new console for the next generation. Sony have behind the scenes shown some performance off of the new console, but they've not officially announced it to the world yet, as in this is any sort of presentation or any sort of announcements about it. Could they throw a curveball and maybe talk about it? This pressure's going to be on for them to start thinking about announcing that, because Microsoft are already ahead of them on that score.
They just have to say the name PlayStation 5 publicly with the Sony logos and on the stage, just be like, PlayStation 5 coming at this point, and then that'll immediately get them in the race. They won't be winning it necessarily, but they'll be in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be most likely. If it's going to be shoehorned into one of these like Gamescom opening night conferences, that obviously it's not going to be in the Google Stadia or the Xbox conference. So if it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be in the Gamescom. Jeff Keighley's going to have like a 30-second trailer about PlayStation 5 coming up,
where it's going to be like dramatic close-ups of it looking all weird, and then it'll explode out and you'll see circuit boards and chips and shit.
Just to get people excited enough for when PlayStation or Sony actually want to come out and reveal all the details publicly. So just a little taster to get people's taste buds. That's the only kind of PlayStation 5
one thing I'd love them to do, but they probably wouldn't, would be, first off, bring out something Last of Us 2 related. That would be a big surprise. Like, oh my god,
it would be a surprise.
Awesome. And then at the end of that trailer, release date coming March 2020. Awesome. Or well, maybe later, whatever. And then exclusive on the PlayStation 5. There's like 3 huge things. Like, oh fucking whoa.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool, but they never do it. If I had to wait another over a year for Last of Us 2, I think I might explode.
No.
But it could be cool.
Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent there for PlayStation. Back to the Gamescom Open Night live conference. What we know from the website, from the Gamescom website, the conference hosted by Jeff Keighley, obviously, loads of publishers on board, including 2K, Activision, Bandai Namco, Bungie, Capcom, EA, Epic Games, Koch Media / Deep Silver, Private Division, Sony Interactive Entertainment. So Sony are definitely a part of this. So that their Stranding link is there. Obviously, we're expecting Hideo to come out and greet Jeff Keighley with a blowjob or whatever. Square Enix, Ubisoft. Sorry if that was a bit crass for some of you.
I thought we were greet him with a kiss or cuddle or whatever. No, going
straight for the jugular. Anyway, so a number of independent game studios also making announcements. So we don't know exactly what to expect. From here, it's just speculation. So it's another one. I guess there's only 2 conferences that are really excited for: the Xbox one and the Gamescom general one.
Just not the Google one.
The Google Stadia.
Until real people can get their hands on it, I don't really care. I'm not that fussed. And
like we said, that's pretty much it for the conferences. That is it. Like E3, there's loads of conferences. This is it, 3 hours and it's done. But after that is when it gets interesting at Gamescom, because that's when everyone gets to walk the floor, gets to play the games. Or, you get trailers coming out from behind the scenes. You get behind the scenes gameplay. You'll get journalists getting their hands on games and stuff like that. And that's where it gets interesting. People getting interviews, talking about the games, announcing things behind the scenes that don't necessarily come in these big conference type things, which is really cool. That's the part I like about it most. And it's a shame I'm not going. I would like to have gone, but it coincides with my next holiday. Your latest disappearing act. Like I said, it's not my choice. I'd rather be going to Gamescom, but I have to be going on holiday again. There you go. It's all going to be live streamed on My Gamescom YouTube, like I said earlier, as well as Twitch and Mixer. We talked about Sony already, so with regards to other speculations and stuff, Do you have any predictions?
Well, one that's been kind of semi-rumoured for a little while now, based on, I think it was some PlayStation listing, is that Death Stranding might not be PlayStation exclusive, or at least forever. Like, it might just be timed PlayStation exclusive, because it's not listed as a PlayStation title. It sometimes can just not on that list, and people have assumed maybe it's coming to PC or something.
Yeah, that's it happened recently. The exclusive on PS4 was removed from artwork and promotional material, which does imply that something that they've decided that it will be coming to PC at some point in the future.
Yeah, and that wouldn't
a bit like Days. Detroit Become Human.
Yeah,
and that was
Quantic Dream and all that.
Quantic Dream. They're now not going to be a platform exclusive company from now on going forward, and all their games are coming to PC. The Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, all their back catalogue, they're now throwing them on all platforms. Maybe that's the same kind of publishing arrangement that Sony have got with Kojima Productions as they had with Quantic Dream.
Yeah, and I think this wouldn't really surprise me, because I don't have it written in front of me. I don't have a quote or anything, so don't take my word for it, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that Hideo Kojima wasn't happy about Metal Gear Solid 4 being exclusive to the PS3. I don't think he wanted it to be, but Konami decided it was, so it was. And he'd rather have spread it to more people. Because the only reason a lot of these games, which are older franchises, are PlayStation exclusives is because they didn't have a choice when they came out on the PS1. It's like, that's just the console you're on. It's not like we're trying to hide it from anyone. It's just all that's available.
Yeah, that's it.
If they went multi-platform, that would be a big deal, but I'm going to get it either way, so
yeah,
it doesn't change that.
I guess it's one of those big blockbuster games that everyone has to play to see what they think about it, essentially.
I think Last of Us stuff could be really interesting, but I doubt we'll see anything.
Doubt it.
And at least until Death Stranding is out of the way.
Yeah.
Because then they can start focusing on that as the next big exclusive.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, the thing with The Last of Us 2, it's such a huge game for everybody, for the fans, for Naughty Dog, as well as Sony, right? And for them, as they're on low power mode, we've already established, to come out of nowhere and just try and throw some sort of huge gameplay something together, or just a huge announcement, would be very unexpected. I would probably assume that they would save that for some other big event that they've got of their own at some point in future, rather than tag it onto this. Yeah,
a new Last of Us trailer would be of value to us as players and as consumers, but it's a question of how much value it is to them.
Yeah.
Putting all that effort in, and what do they get out of it other than shock value and everyone talking about it?
Yeah. It's one of those games where there's so many people on board anyway. You don't really need a demo right now to sell people on it.
Yeah.
You just need to get the game, out and ready in players' hands.
Yeah. Well, two of the things I'm most excited for won't actually happen until after the event, and that's confirmed. It's been confirmed post E3 that Cyberpunk and Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix will be getting public gameplay demos for us at home, not just at the show. And it's probably going to be the same gameplay they showed behind closed doors at E3 anyway, or at least very, very similar. But they're the two things I'm really keen on. Yeah, that Cyberpunk gameplay, which was shown off at E3 behind closed doors, that people got to see and we didn't. It's one of those where fans are like, oh, why can't we get to see it? But it's it's their marketing strategy. It's how they promote the game. It's a deliberate choice. We will get to see it, just like we did last year. Everyone was buzzed and hyped about the Cyberpunk gameplay, and then eventually after Gamescom, we got to see it, and we were all like, holy shit, this is going to be awesome. Yeah. And with Cyberpunk beginning of next year, first 4 months of next year, is it? April, I want to say. Yeah, April next year. It's around about there. Anyway, we just want to see it again. And I want to see it. I want to see if it is the same demo. I want to see if it's as offensive as some games media seem to think it is. Do they? What's that? Because there's the gang, the enemy gang, who are called, I think they're just called the Animals. Yeah. But they're made up of predominantly black people. So some games media took that to mean that you're saying black people are animals. Oh, fuck them. And then, sorry, man, just fuck them idiots. Mike Pondsmith came out and says, don't tell me, a black man, what I should be offended by. Yeah. So I want to see
another non-controversy that the gaming media tries to thrust down our throats.
Yep, it's bullshit. But I also want to see what it plays like moment to moment, because I think that demo that was behind closed doors was less of a set piece, less action focused. It's more like, this is what you'll actually be spending a lot of your time doing, speaking to people, walking around, and then occasionally doing the action. Yeah,
and it's easy to get carried away with all the hype and buzz around this game, to think that it's going to be the best game ever, whatever. But thinking about it practically, you are going to be walking around and chatting with people. There's going to be slow points. There's going to be, it's not all going to be hype and jazz and action and all that. It's not going to be high octane type of stuff. It's an RPG.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. How is it going to play? That's we obviously from the gameplay last year. You walk around the city, taking in all the sights and that. We know. People can kind of base their expectations on that. But again, we want to see more, right?
Yeah. And when it comes to Avengers, they leaked. Well, it was leaked a while ago. I think, was that at E3, or I think it might have been at something else. I can't really remember. But it was literally a phone recording of the screen at the time of showing the different characters fighting. And what I saw of the leak, I did like. So if it's just the same, that's fine with me. I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
it does look cool.
So the one that I'm excited for and is confirmed to be at Gamescom is Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. Woo! I don't know if you guys remember from my preview to the E3 podcast. I was like, I hope Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord is going to be shown. I hope it's going to be there. I haven't heard about it for years. It was announced far too long ago. We haven't heard anything about it. It is definitely going to be at Gamescom. They even sent me an email and said, do you want to come and get hands-on with the multiplayer? And I was like, of course I do, but I can't because I'm going on a bloody holiday. Awesome. So next year, I'm to the wife, I'm saying, I'm already booking that time off, and then if we can get some way to get to Germany during that time, there's no way I'm going to be letting my wife book a holiday for that next year. Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord hands-on. I could have had hands-on with it the next week, but unfortunately not. But we have had footage of it recently. Last week, I believe, we got some multiplayer, some gameplay out, so journalists can get their hands on it. Hopefully behind the scenes they're going to be asking questions, when's it going to be out, or at least a window, give us like end of 2020 or at least. This game has been worked on for so long now, and we got to see it. I don't know whether it's one of those games where they just had to keep iterating on it, or they've had like problems or whatever, development hell, whatever they call it. I don't know if it's one of them, or the scope of the game is just like grown far too long. But it's not been in early access. It's not been one of those ones that you've heard a lot about, so it's just been behind closed doors, and I'm just waiting for it. I'm just very excited for it because it's exactly the type of game that I really, really sink a lot of time into and I love. So you have it. That is, I don't think is there much else we're expecting from Gamescom. Let us know what your predictions are, what you expect, what you're excited for, down in the comments.
Apparently my computer's volume is still on.
Apparently so. And yeah, that wraps up our Gamescom chat. So next up, I want to talk a little bit about No Man's Sky. Now, I haven't prepared any discussion about this, but No Man's Sky Beyond has released yesterday, I believe. And again, the community is very, very happy with this from early impressions. The VR's here now. The multiplayer is a lot better now, and they've fixed so many bugs and added so many new things. I'm currently downloading it in the office so we can get hands-on with VR. Maybe we'll have a chance to play it. The game itself it's one of those very unique stories where it's gone from everyone being buzzed when it was announced, everyone being so badly disappointed when it came out, and then it's just come on this huge kind of redemption arc where like it is one of the success stories in the industry right now, where it's a games as a service, but you only pay for the game once. That's it. No cosmetic microtransactions, no microtransactions whatsoever, no loot boxes, nothing at all. You pay for it once and you get a whole heap of game for it. There's no extra add-on VR price that they might do on a Bethesda game, for example. You buy the game, you get access to everything, and it's just a very unique package that you don't often get. You don't get at all in the industry, really. It's credit to Hello Games and it's credit to Sean Murray for being able to swing it back to where it is. I mean, as much as you might be pissed off with them at launch, I do love a good redemption story. I really do. And I think that these guys have earned the respect that they're now getting from the community.
They just got their heads down and got on with it.
Yeah.
They didn't spend ages doing blog post after blog post being, we're sorry, we're working on it, like fucking BioWare have been trying to do with
we
Anthem.
Hear you guys.
Yeah, we hear your criticisms.
We hear you. We're taking everything on board and we're ignoring most of it.
Just get your head down and get it done.
A quick note for those of you who are interested and not bought No Man's Sky yet, because I'm going to be jumping on it as soon as I possibly can, right? It is available on Green Man Gaming, who we are affiliated with now. So if you want to get hold of it, you can use our link in the top of the description of this video. And you can support the channel while you're doing it. Go over to Green Man Gaming. It's at 54% discount now, so it's usually 40 quid. It's under 40 quid. It's like £18.50 on Green Man Gaming now for the PC. There's also a site-wide voucher which gets you an extra 12% off buying No Man's Sky. So if you just put the voucher code August12 in the cart, and that works on any games during the whole of August as well, you can buy No Man's Sky for £16.28. How is that for a bargain? I think that is possibly one of the best values for money in all of gaming right now. I'm not just saying that because we're affiliated with Green Man Gaming, because I'm trying to promote it. But I honestly think value for money, bang for buck.
Yeah, the amount of game you're getting out of it.
Yeah, if you've ever been interested in No Man's Sky, now is the time to get into it, because they've added so much more. They've added like rideable mounts. Obviously mounts are rideable, but mountable creatures. You can farm creatures now. You can farm food. There's a whole new building mechanics and building things. You can now stack. This is one of the biggest ones from the community that people are really, really incredibly excited for. Is that you can stack resources in your inventory up to 10,000 units instead of like the 250. So inventory space was a big thing in the game, and unlocking a new inventory slot for your backpack was was part of the progression, where you'd be like, yes, now I've got 10 slots, 11 slots.
Yeah, especially in a game which is a lot about resource collection and management.
So you can store up to 10,000 units of a single resource per slot now, which frees up a lot of space and stops you having to go back to your ship and dropping stuff off, which is it's going to change the game for someone like me who does spend a lot of time gathering resources and shit like that. It just helps you that little bit more when you're farming in order to go and build your stuff up. But that you should read the patch notes for the game if you're interested. There's loads of stuff changed, and I'm pretty excited to be playing it, that's for sure. So on that note, we shall move on to the Discord questions. Would you like to introduce this segment, sir? So
these questions come from our Discord channel, which you can get access to if you are one of the lovely people who chooses to become a Patreon over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. As well as the Discord, you'll get early access to this very podcast a couple days early, and also on the Discord there are bad dad jokes which you can submit and you can enjoy all for yourself. So now the first question is actually one that we missed out last week, and it must have just got deleted, and I was quite devastated, so I must apologise, but now it's time for your redemption. Cloney99, regular contributor, generally following a theme, and that theme is shag, marry, kill.
Yeah.
I'm too tired for a good shag, marry, kill.
That's all that sentence needs to be.
Exactly, I'm too tired. As I'm still awake since yesterday, but here goes nothing. Shag, marry, kill, superhero round. I felt like we need like a klaxon. Superhero round. Or whatever. Lena Oxton, which is Tracer from Overwatch, Wanda Maximoff, which is Scarlet Witch from Marvel's Avengers, or Zatanna from DC's Justice League Dark. The magic side of DC, she's the daughter of a magician, friend of John Constantine, and so on. Powerful sorceress, speaks her spells backwards. Okay, now his decision is, I'd shag Tracer because she slips through time and could possibly stagger orgasms. I mean,
who thinks of that? Who think Cloney? You're not too tired to think of that, are you?
Or maybe he's like reached a new level of tiredness where you get insight. You have like an epiphany, a moment of clarity, which could be something to behold. Kill Zatanna since she's linked to DC's magic side, and good God, the evil that happens to her. and marry Scarlet Witch, as she is already into some kinky stuff and, depending on the time period, basically all powerful. I think I'm pretty much with you there, to be honest. Zatanna, she's basically knocking about in lingerie, which is quite fabulous. She's essentially like a magician's assistant. She's got like a corset and then a top hat, as if you could pull a rabbit out of it, which is everything I meant by that. Tracer, I'm not familiar with Overwatch at all, but I know she's got a great butt.
Well,
so much so that they had to patch it out, didn't they? Wasn't that a thing a little while ago?
They definitely did. One person wrote one angry letter, and then it was gone.
And then they fixed her butt. And Scarlet Witch, yeah, she's crazy. So, but then again, I think I might marry Tracer and shag Scarlet Witch, because Scarlet Witch might be a bit too crazy, and she's a little bit too intimate with her brother Quicksilver, who is super, super fast. So, yeah. If
Tracer slips through time, then marrying her, you could use that power you could harness that power for yourself, right?
Well, I don't have that power. She'd have it. So if
you could exploit her. That's what I'm saying. You could exploit your own wife, right? Better than you could exploit someone who you're shagging, because it's less. You could exploit that, you know.
Well, to be fair, it would be an advantage to her as well, because if she's like, because we're married and I'm not doing the dishes or whatever, she can be like, "Can you do the dishes?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it after the show I'm watching." She can just go fast forward time. There you go. You're doing the dishes. She's not wasting any time. Efficiency.
She'll be like, "Yeah, okay then,"
because she's not doing the work. She's just making you do it faster.
Or she can go. Or she'll be like, "I don't believe you. Come on, do it now." You'll be like, "Go forward in time and check that I did them." You know, there's the proof right there. You can just fucking go and check that I did them.
There we go.
That sounds cool. You can put off all the chores, because you can guarantee to Tracer that you're going to do them, because you can just go and check.
Eventually, yeah.
Awesome.
All right, marry Tracer, shag Scarlet Witch, and sorry Zatanna, but you're getting killed. Bad luck.
I mean, I don't know. Scarlet Witch, I mean, she redhead, is she? I mean, I guess. But Zatanna, there's something about those fishnet tights, right? You know what I mean? Something about that.
Yeah.
That.
She's definitely visually appealing, but I know
dark hair versus red hair.
I know Wanda Maximoff better.
It's a you know, I'm gonna go shag Katana. Zatanna. Shag Katana.
We've already done the Mortal Kombat one. That was weeks ago.
Thanks for your question, Mr. Cloney99. Moving on to Mr. Earthworm Ben's question. One thing I was wondering, as I bought a few games in Steam's summer sale, is it fair to harshly judge games still if they have multiple season passes? A game I bought is on Season Pass 3 and still being supported with meaningful additions after 4 years.
I think you've kind of summed it up there yourself, to be honest, with meaningful additions.
Yeah.
I mean, in principle, I oppose the concept of a season pass, because they've been manipulated and abused so many times. Mm-hmm. But if it's good content, which is value for money, then cool.
Okay, you're right. There's a general rule, as in, if they're asking for more money, always be dubious. Always think, never just go ahead with it, because it can be abused. But specifically, every case on a case-by-case basis, you have to judge for yourself. You have to put the research in. Is this going to be value for money for me if I buy this game? And you've got to see, how the community reacts, whether people are happy with it in general. There's always going to be opinions either way, but you're perfectly entitled to judge a game harshly or otherwise based on your opinion of how they're implementing the game's path and whether there's a value for money or not. So that's essentially what we try and promote, is people to use rational thought to be objective and try and make their own decisions about games, whether a general rule is a general rule, no pre-ordering or whatever, but still on a case-by-case basis it might make sense in some cases. It doesn't mean you should never pre-order no matter what. But it just means just be careful with your money.
It's your choice. If you think it's good value, go for it. I'm not going to tell you what to spend your money on. Thanks for your question. Next up is from Super Flea. Sup, guys? Looking back to our early gaming days to maybe the early 2000s, we can clearly see innovation and true development and care with games we played. In light of the Borderlands fiasco and other similar happenings, loot boxes and dev/production teams attacking and blaming fans, do you think games development has become more of a ruthless money-making business rather than the push for groundbreaking ideas and imagination?
Well, this is The kind of narrative pushed by the likes of Jim Sterling, I'm not saying that critically, this is just what he covers mostly on his channel. Like, games development is just a big business for a lot of big companies. You can't dispute that. You can't, there's no counter argument to that. The likes of EA, the likes of Activision, the likes of the big companies who just out to make money, they talk to their investors, and that's the important thing. Their investor calls they say it all, like the language that you use. They treat, customers are just there to be milked. That's just the language that you use. 2K, another big example. But that doesn't mean that games development has become more of a ruthless money-making business in general. It just means that the biggest companies are doing that. There are so many businesses making games, so many developers making games, so many publishers publishing that aren't greedy like them. You think it's the likes of CD Projekt Red. There's other independent ones. Publishers, ones from E3 always do that. Devolver Digital. There's good guys out there, and the problem is that all the bad guys get the headlines, and so you think that that's all the industry is, but it's not. There's plenty out there doing good things, especially in the indie scene. You just have to find them.
Yeah, they're definitely there, and I think there are so many really good teams that outweigh the bad ones, and you're right, they just don't necessarily get the attention. But I think the more money that is on the table, the more protective people are going to be of it. And that's why you get companies like EA who are so money driven, because they've got so much they can't bear to lose any of it or not gain it. So
yeah, it's a shame that it's like the very top end. You think about like the food pyramid or whatever, like the EAs and the Activision, the 2Ks, like the top of the food pyramid, they're all rotten to the core. Yeah. Like they're all like bad now, because all they're after is your money in order to serve their investors to make more money. That's all they're after. But there's plenty, further down the pyramid, it's so much wider, and there's so much more, there's more people there propping up the games industry who are doing great things, but you just have to look past these big corporate
and if you're looking for groundbreaking ideas and imagination, 9 times out of 10 you'll find it in indie, not AAA.
You have to go to indie games, that's for sure,
because AAA, they're more afraid because there's more money at stake, so they can't afford to take as many risks. Whereas an indie game, there's not as much money at stake because there's not as much money behind it to be lost in the first place if they do get it wrong.
Thanks for the question, Mr. Superfleet. Ricky 5155. In regards to having to display the odds on loot boxes, do you think that could happen? That could just open up another door for companies to make even more profit off of people by upselling different tiers of loot boxes. Fucking hell, don't give them ideas. For example, pay £2.99 for the standard loot box that has a 1 in 1,000 chance of getting an X-ray item, or pay $4.99 to get the premium loot box, 1 in 500 chance of getting an X-ray item. Yes,
absolutely, 100%.
If there's an opportunity for them to make more money by giving you a better chance, they will 100% do this. And it despairs even thinking about, because if you've thought about it, they've thought about it, and if they've thought about it, they've already taken plans to implement it. It's that simple.
Yep.
So
there you go. That loot box odds is
talking about the rotten tip of the iceberg. That's it right there, Mr. Ricky 155. Thanks for your question.
Oh, hold on, you jumping my files around. There we go.
Keeping you on your toes.
Vienska's Prime. Let's go a little different this week. And very different straight away, because it's only 2 sentences instead of a huge paragraph from Vienska's Prime.
What, really?
Which realistic and which unrealistic video game world would you not want to live in, and why?
Which realistic
world
and unrealistic game would you not want to live in, and why? I wouldn't want to live in the world of Mafia 3, right? Because if any crime happens around you, Mafia 3, right, you get shot by police. Anything bad happens, and the cops are so aggro.
Now,
you get
is that
targeted.
A deliberate game mechanic because it's a commentary on, let's say, like the black community getting shot by cops all the time in America?
That's what people might say. Or is it just bad? I just think it's janky mechanics. I just think that it's janky mechanics. And I think GTA 5 might be the same with it's like the cops are like anything. These games are Red Dead Redemption 2 is the same, right? Yeah. It's something. Like, you look at somebody right? You're not even a black guy. It's not even, you can't even, palm it off as that, right? You're looking at somebody and they're like, who are you looking at? And they come out and they start a fist fight with you, and then the cop comes and takes you down.
Yeah, not them.
It's like, all I was doing was looking at your scruffy boots or whatever, and then they cause the fight, they throw the first punch, I get thrown in jail or shot or whatever if I run away. It's so frustrating when that happens in a game, because it's very unrealistic AI, and all you want is a little realism. I'd hate to be in those worlds.
So is that your unrealistic world or a realistic world? Because it's trying to be realistic, but it's behaving unrealistically.
It's a realistic world, right?
So
Red Dead Redemption 2 is supposed to be one of the realistic games out there, but that's one of my biggest complaints of the game.
I think the first one that popped into my head for a realistic world in terms of how the game approaches its mechanics and stuff is Metro, because it resource management and your guns all being shit and having to manage your oxygen masks and your radiation and all that. Fuck living in that world. Like, great games, but I don't want to have to step outside of a shitty metro tunnel, which is already crap, out to the surface and then just get fried by radiation. I don't want that. We'll probably end up like that anyway when all the nukes drop and blow up the planet.
Yeah, matter of time, guys. Matter of time. On that optimistic note, let's move on. Next up, Mr. Metal Shark has his weekly offerings. Is it just one this week? Did you?
No, there's two.
Using the Outer Worlds perk system, what personal gaming flaw/difficulty do you wholeheartedly accept, and where would you like the perk point placed to improve something else?
So does it have to be a gaming flaw then applied to a gaming thing you want to make better?
So for those of you unfamiliar with the perk flaw system in the Outer Worlds, if you're constantly getting shot in the head, you will get or constantly getting burnt by fire, you will be asked if you want to accept a flaw, which is you're susceptible to fire damage, and if you accept that, you can then use a skill point to upgrade one of your other skills. You get a skill point to upgrade. So it's like accepting something that's bad about yourself, but then buffing something else that you want.
Yeah, because I think it makes it worse as well.
Yeah, it makes your skill. Yeah, it makes you damage.
Yeah, if fire damages you a little bit, it will then damage you a whole lot, but you'll be better with sniper weapons or something like that.
Sure. So what personal gaming flaw do you wholeheartedly accept, and where would you like the perk point to be placed to improve something else?
I'm really bad at fighting games, mainly because I can't be asked to learn the combos and that.
Yeah.
So I think I could accept being bad at those, and I think maybe I'd take it and be really good at Fortnite, and I'll win $3 million.
Well, that's a fucking good answer, that dude.
Or what else am I bad at?
Take your pick. I mean,
yeah, that's true. It's a good fucking point.
A whole list. I mean, do you want a list?
Well, I'm really bad at shooters like Call of Duty. I was always better at something more like Halo.
Yeah.
I was never that good at Call of Duty. I got good for like a week and then I stopped. Yeah. Take that and then put that back into fighting games and be really good at fighting games and then win money doing that.
Yeah. Okay. On the theme of an Obsidian RPG, I would take the flaw of something I'm really bad at, like a battle royale game. Right, I'll take being shit at battle royale and never being able to win at battle royales ever again. And I could put that skill into being good at Obsidian RPGs, right? Because from personal experience, I bought Pillars of Eternity this week for the second time on Switch this time, and I've been playing it, and it takes so long for me to get my head around how the combat's working and just how many facets there are to the combat mechanic and the RPG system. It's so deep, and I want to be good at it. I want to understand it, and I want to get fun out of it. I'm starting to get fun out of it. It just feels like it's hard work for me. It feels like I'm doing work in order to get to the end game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is enjoy the game itself. It feels like I'm not enjoying it to begin with because I'm learning so much, and the learning curve is so steep that I wish I was just better at just learning the core mechanics of the game and then just enjoying it, because there's just so many spells and abilities and skill points, and there's just so much to it, and I know the game's deep and it's going to be very rewarding in the long run, but I want to get to that long run sooner rather than later.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
I think that's on theme on since
Obsidian,
is Obsidian. That works. Thanks for your question, Mark Shark. The second part of the question is, what game has made you quit and not go back again the fastest, or has this never happened to you? Always happens to me, dude. The fastest. The quit and not go back the fastest. Oh man, what was it? I mean, I know Metal Gear Solid 5, I lasted about an hour or two. What not go back the fastest? What the fuck? Paradox Interactive's Imperator Rome was one. I lasted about 20 minutes on that. Let me see. I can't open Steam up. I've probably got like 5 minutes on a few games.
Well, I try and complete everything I play, which is for better or worse. But the one that popped into my head was what the hell was it? Darksiders 3. I was playing Darksiders 3 because I really wanted to get into the other ones but never did. So I was like, well, I'll try 3. Maybe it'll be the one to click with me. And I got reasonably far through, and I ended up fighting this boss, and I was like, this just isn't fun.
Yeah.
Like, I was enjoying it, but then I wasn't enjoying it enough. And then that boss fight, it just pissed me off because it was unfair. I think it was this like a crab squid type monster under the ground, and it was just fucking me up. Like, I'd been playing for a long time anyway, so I was kind of plateauing, and I just couldn't be dealing with it, and I haven't been back. And because normally if I stop playing something, I will go back and I will finish it.
Yeah.
But I still haven't been back.
I think talking of VR games as we were earlier, I tried, funnily enough, Subnautica, which is the game we covered this week. I tried that in VR while it's still in early access, and I played 5 minutes, and again it was like, it's just not working for me right now. So I refunded that. Another Steam game I refunded. This is like just a list of Steam games I refunded because I didn't get into 2 hours worth. The other one was a VR game again, and that was Super Hot VR version. It's one of them games where I thought, I've got Super Hot, and they're doing a VR version of it. I thought maybe I can just play it on VR without having to pay extra. Nah, I had to pay the extra for the VR version. So I was like, yeah, okay, it was a decent game. It looks like a great concept for VR. I bought it, but like 2 minutes in the very tutorial, I couldn't pick up the gun. It was on the floor, and it was like my hand, like it was underneath the floor, and I couldn't like reach it. And it's like, this is so janky. Like the pain, I'm having to pay extra money for this. Nah, refund that shit, and I did straight away. So that's the reasons why I never get far into game. Quit and not go back, as you term it. It's because something doesn't work, or it's just jank, and it's technical issues essentially. Thanks for your questions, Mr. Metal Shark.
Yeah. Next up, this could be any number of things, but Loachgar, if you could guarantee a review copy of one upcoming game for the channel, which would you choose? Now, I think review copy is part of what makes this interesting, because if I could just pick any game to get for free, what would I choose? That's super broad, pick anything. But review copy, that's to get it early and then be able to review it and publish it and get it out at embargo, which means I could pick something which would get really, really good views really easily. So realistically, it's probably going to be Cyberpunk.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is the obvious choice.
Well, the Cyberpunk Death Stranding would be one to try and play and complete. Again, one of the biggest ones as well. For me, Outer Worlds. But then I would like to get my hands on that before release.
A game like Cyberpunk, I don't think I'd necessarily
want to rush through it.
Yeah. A tighter experience, more linear, like Last of Us could be really good, because that's still going to get amazing views.
There's just so many games that fall into that category. But yeah, guarantee a review copy. Yeah, Last of Us, Cyberpunk, The Outer Worlds for me, the 3 that I want to play.
I'd quite like Modern Warfare, the upcoming one, because I think that's
interesting. Because
it's the first time I've been interested in Call of Duty for years.
Yeah.
And I might end up getting it, I don't know. But that could be cool. Thanks for your question, Loachgar.
Next up, Mars Lad. Similar to Ricky 155's question, the requirement to disclose loot box odds. How will it actually help in any way? For instance, it could be exploited further against its original intention. For example, publishers using this as a means of advertising they're effectively having a sale on loot boxes by increasing the drop rate of good stuff. And then quotes, usually it's 1%, but this week it's only 2%. Also, how on earth would something like this be independently regulated and verified? I mean, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, this is gambling. The odds of getting something a random chance is a gambling mechanic, right? So how you regulate this is by independent verification.
Get the gambling people in.
The people who verify, like we mentioned, I think it was in the last podcast or previously, there are independent firms that go around verifying that the algorithms are fair and that it's completely random, making sure that this stuff. So there's literally no way of this happening, short of a regulator coming in and if a regulator comes in, then surely it's gambling. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of an admission of guilt.
The ESA won't force it to happen because they want all these loot boxes there because they're in the games of the people who make up the ESA.
Yeah, you just have to take their word for it unless they state independently verified by this gambling regulation authority. And if that is the case, they're literally admitting that it's gambling. So what the fuck?
So regulation is an absolute win for gamers, I think. All right, anyway, thanks for your question. Next up is Rudy Manchego. A long-winded question here. I was walking back from a restaurant with my lady wife yesterday evening. Oh, brag, look at me, I've got a wife.
Flexing, fucking hell.
It should be stated that I've spent many years convincing my wife that gaming is a legitimate art form and not the domain of people hunched over the screens in their bedrooms.
Is it me, or is it just for, I've got a wife, I'm convincing my wife? Is it like just dropping the fact that he's got a wife into this a little bit too often? I'm a gamer and I've got a wife. Wow, look how successful I am.
It's not true. Never happens.
All right, Rudy.
Unfortunately, on the walk, there was a house with a large bay window full of lights on with a rather large fella, topless, in a gaming PC chair, headphones on, and visibly getting agitated at his computer. The sight was, to say the least, disconcerting.
Are you sure he was getting agitated and not just getting excited? He sounds like... I mean, I'm assuming you couldn't see that he wasn't fully naked. You can only see that he had his top off. I mean,
well, with all the talk of wives, I think that might be bullshit, and you might be the chubby guy in the chair. But who knows?
You know, this thing happened to a friend of mine.
Yeah. I'm asking for a friend. Have you guys ever proudly displayed your gaming prowess in a state of undress? How would you go about undoing the damage of what my wife, my wife saw, and to fall back to the stereotyping of gamers? Are any of your listeners that guy, and what is his perspective? All right, first question was gaming prowess in a state of undress. My first thing, bold of you to assume I have any gaming prowess to begin with. And no, I don't really knock about in my underwear at home whether I'm gaming or not. I'll either be, in normal clothes like jeans and a t-shirt, or I'll be in like comfy trousers like jogger bottoms or just a t-shirt or whatever. I'm not really naked very often in my house.
Yeah.
Unless I'm like in the shower or...
That's just really warm. It's been warm and humid recently. Getting down to business. Who's flexing now?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever proudly displayed your gaming prowess? Just not... Look, proudly display. I live in a cul-de-sac in a really rural area. We don't get walkers by. I can't, if I wanted to even, I could not proudly display my gaming prowess in a state of undress, even if I wanted to. So no is the answer to that one, Mr. Rudy Manchego.
How would we undo the damage
that your wife saw? Well, I think your problem here is not that your wife saw this dude and that she's fallen back into stereotyping.
It's that your wife isn't real.
That's one. I'm not going to go as bold as that and claim that you've made up your wife and your kids, because I'm pretty sure that you're a family dude. But what I would say is your problem here is worrying what your wife thinks about gamers. I think that's you're never going to convince her, and if she's going to generalize based on her seeing one person, a fat guy with his top off, if she's going to generalize to all of gamers because of that, then that's her problem, right? All you got to do is show her some of the most successful game, likes of Ninja on a stream, likes of other streamers who are really successful, other gamers who are good-looking, intelligent, and do great for the industry.
Yeah, the risk with that, although I do think it's a good idea, is that she's going to start fancying them and not you. Because they're like, oh,
she'll never get Ninja.
Oh, true.
He doesn't have to be insecure about that.
Yeah. Well, I think there's...
It's like, good luck. Yeah, if you fancy, you can fancy Ninja all you want, but get anyone near him. It's far too successful.
Is he that good looking though, Ninja? Is it just the crazy hair that is getting your attention? Because that's always a different colour.
I mean, I'm not one to judge how attractive or not Ninja is, but he's not a fat bald guy.
That's true.
Displaying his gaming prowess in a state of undress. I'm sure to get more views if you... I mean, he's not a bad looking dude.
There was porn on his old Twitch channel. Bringing it back round. I think you just need to show her even adequately attractive gamers to prove that they're not just fat, sweaty. But then, if she believes it's for people hunched over their screens in their bedrooms, is that what you're doing? Because that might be the only reason her only experience of gaming is watching you do it. So maybe don't hunch over your screen in your bedroom.
Yeah. I mean... I just think that if someone's so convinced that gaming is all about just fat nerds in their basements with neckbeards, Dorito dust all over their tops, hunching over a screen like this dude might have been, if that's their general conception of it, that's fine. They're ignoring basic key facts about the industry, which is the gaming industry is bigger than the movie industry and the music industry combined, right? Yeah. There's more money in the gaming industry than both of those industries. So if that doesn't tell you something about the how successful and how popular this industry is, although it's not mainstream in the UK, every so often you get a news bulletin on Radio 1 about this game that's coming out, or that gamer won loads of money. It's not mainstream like it is in other countries. So just because your missus isn't familiar with that, it doesn't make her generalizations accurate, right? And that's all you got to tell her. It's like, just because you don't understand it, I mean, I don't want to argue with you, because you are my wife, and you provide certain basic needs for me, such as wives do, as in care for your children. That's what I was saying. But yeah, you got to keep your wife happy. Don't upset her. Don't tell her what I just said.
If her issues with gaming and gamers are that much of an issue for you, maybe she's not the one.
Oh, it's too late now, dude.
Maybe it's time to cut her loose.
Rings on the finger. Do you know what I mean?
Or chop the finger off.
Wow.
I'm sure she's a lovely lady.
Don't take Henry's advice. Henry's advice is horrible. He's obviously not married, and
thank God.
I know, having been married for over 10 years, that a key to a happy life is a happy wife, and I know that for a fact. Happy wife, happy life.
Going on holiday all the time.
That's it. You just got to keep the women happy in your life, and you'll have a happy... It's just that simple. Mr. Rudy Manchego probably is very... knows what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, okay, maybe if you want
to... So don't
just keep her happy, just agree
her.
With her. Just say, yes, all gamers
exactly, just humour her. Dude, there's nothing easier than just humouring women. Not easier, I mean, there's no... Better key to a happy life than just humouring, or just ignore it. Like, women...
the opposite.
No, exactly. Don't rise to it, right? Women have got such a good skill in ignoring you when you want to talk to them about something important, right? Or they just, just don't listen or whatever. It's that when she goes off about, is this what gamers are like? They're all fat. It's like, yeah.
Or be...
Yeah, you got a point there, love.
Or be bitter and petty and shit on something she loves. Like,
that's
what's her hobby? Is she really into, I don't know, golf? Be like, oh, look at all these golfers with their stupid trousers or whatever. They all look the same. Yeah, just be petty and childish.
Any of the above. Take all the advice as much as you need, Rudy. We're full of it apparently. Thanks for your question there, dude. Next up. Did you read that one?
Yeah, you're right.
Sabu, if due to public pressure or legislation, companies like EA are made to drop monetization practices like loot boxes, microtransactions, and pay-to-win mechanics, do you think that they will be like, quotes, well, looks like we need to make some good games now? Or will they just try to find some other shady model like previously mentioned ones? If so, any come to mind? Again, we're not here to come up with ideas for them to try and exploit us. I'm sure there's plenty of ways for them to do that.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to start making good games. That takes effort. I think the people who do the hard work making their games, like the talented developers and stuff, they'll be out of the job because Activision will probably sack them because they can't keep taking their $90 million bonuses.
It's an interesting.
So then they'll
thought.
Go off and find better studios and do good stuff anyway.
It's an interesting thought to think about an industry without loot boxes and microtransactions and pay-to-win mechanics. If you imagine, right, this whole trend towards games as a service, towards battle royale games, towards continual engagement in your games and them being social experiences or whatever, that whole push is founded on the fact that they can make money out of it, right? Imagine all those loot boxes are gone, microtransactions are gone, they can't make money after the fact on any games. That means that whole sector of gaming will be dead in the water, other than games like No Man's Sky, right? So you wouldn't have the Anthems, you wouldn't have the Fortnite Battle Royales, you wouldn't have all those games that make money out of microtransactions. Just imagine what kind of industry it would be then. What kind of games would they have to make? It's an interesting thought. I don't think I can imagine what it'd be like. It might have to go back to the old... There wouldn't be so much money in gaming, that's for sure. The industry wouldn't be as big as it is now. I mean, as much as I like to brag that the industry's huge, a lot of that is because of microtransactions and mobile games, believe it or not. A huge chunk of it is mobile games and monetization due to mobile games. So it's a double-edged sword, really. The industry's big and popular because of them. What would it be like without them? It's anybody's guess, and I don't think it would be the same. But would they have to make good games instead? Probably.
I mean, that's the more pleasant alternative, isn't it? That'd be my dream, because these companies like EA and Activision, the bad ones, they have all this money, and anytime they release a bad game, people are like, oh, EA should be shut down and destroyed. I don't want that. I want them to take all of their resources and put it in something good.
Yeah.
This is kind of a utopist ideology, but sure, it's never going to happen. But I mean, that's the more positive way to look at things.
And part 2 of the question, I'll read this one on too. Mr. Sabu, has any game influenced you so much that it made you develop a strong interest in a topic outside games? For example, after playing Fallout 3, I've developed a love for almost anything post-apocalyptic. I've watched, played anything I can find on the genre, new or old. Yeah. One springs to mind would be Red Dead Redemption, the original one, Western things, like that type of setting. Also, Rome Total War got me interested in ancient Rome. Like all the strategy games, like Medieval Total War got me interested in medieval times. Same kind of thing. I think you get influenced by TV shows as well. Like Game of Thrones got me interested in things like Crusader Kings and.
Yeah, I think Red Dead's a good one, because I was already like into westerns. I like westerns, but then you put down Red Dead and you just sometimes you don't want to jump straight into something that's that similar. But other times I'm like, I'm going to watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for 3 hours. Yeah. It's exactly what I need right now. It's just an amazing movie. Another good one for me personally is a lot of like superhero stuff, because some of my earliest experiences with superheroes were like cartoons and obviously comic books, but also video games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 from, I think that was 2007. That's when that game came along, and it's like, oh look, it's not just X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man and a few others. Here's Ghost Rider, who I didn't really know anything about. Here's Blade, like other characters, and now I know them really well. So there you go. Final question, I believe, from Gaboris. Okay. Don had a good long question lead-up idea, but couldn't make it because of work. So, something simple. I just finished playing the original Rage for the second time. I looked at it with a more critical eye than I did many years ago, and even though it has all its problems, I personally love it for its world and the way everything's built. My main problem outside of mechanics is the ending. When I first played it, I was literally left empty when I was done. I didn't have any, well, I'm done and I'll be having flashbacks for a week, nor, finally, I can get rid of this feelings. Just literally emptiness, and I never had that before. Now, I know it was because the final mission was bland as water and totally overshadowed all the other interesting scenes from before. My question is, did you ever play a game where you were invested in its world and you liked playing it, but after finishing it, you didn't have any form of remorse for finishing it? So a game that didn't make you feel anything afterwards.
Yeah.
Probably. I'm just trying to think of a good example.
When I finished God of War, I was relieved more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed the combat to an extent. I'm not a big fan of the thing. But it just felt like I was grinding towards the end, and it felt like, and once I finished it, I was like, right, putting the controller down, I'm not going back to it again. It's like relief. Is that the kind of thing that is after?
Yeah, I love God of War, so I can't empathise with that.
No, I mean you can understand the feeling.
Yeah, I know what you mean though.
Of finishing it for the sake of it, right? I wanted to finish it because it's a great game, but it's like I've got so much other.
There was one recently, but I can't remember what it was. It's right. Maybe The Sinking City, because that I really liked the like investigations and the weird shit, but going through the core gameplay of like constant backtracking, you can fast travel, but like I shouldn't have to just keep bouncing between stuff, and the shooting was really naff. So at the end I was like, oh right, it became a bit more of a slog than I would have liked. Like just get on with it, get to the next fun case, and then it ended. I did enjoy it, but I was a bit like, okay, that could have been more.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I liked the weird shit, but there just wasn't enough of it around just backtracking and walking around and shooting shit with bad guns. But there you go. I think that is the end of our questions now.
Well, actually, I got a bonus question.
Got a bonus one.
It was Metal Shark's third. Well, it's actually his second of the three, but I saved it to the end. Have you been to a UK LAN party, or do you have any desire to make a celebrity appearance at one? It's funny you should ask, because I've, like, last couple of days I've been thinking it would be cool if we invited some of the patrons round to the office and just did a bit of a LAN event for specifically the community who supports us make the content, right? Because, you know, we produce videos, but we couldn't be doing it without the support of the community, and it's, you know, it's part of this back and forth as content creators and community that keeps us going, that keeps us motivated, you know, as well as the support that you bring. And what better way to reward those who support us the most than to have an event where we're able to interact and get together and do our favourite hobby together. So that was my original thought. It was like, it would be awesome if we could get together for some sort of event. I was like, well, we've got space here, that's for sure. We've definitely got space for like a dozen people to do some gaming together. And I thought, you know, I'd put a teaser, a question out there. Any of you guys interested in like a pretty good gaming LAN event? So I did put the question out there. So the idea is kind of percolating now. So I'm basically... The reason I wanted to read this out is asking you guys specifically, would you be interested in that? What type of format would you like it to be? Like a weekend event starting on a Friday evening, ending on a Sunday afternoon or something, or just a one-day, one-off event? Is in North Wales, obviously. Train links to Rhyl in North Wales, and then it's like a bus ride from there. What type of... I've never been to a LAN event before, like a formally... organised or otherwise, so what type of games? Like, I mean, I'm trying to think, like No Man's Sky might be a cool one. Get it together and play together. Yeah. Obviously, competitive shooters would be cool, but I don't know, battle royales. I think I've literally got loads of questions. I've just got this nugget of an idea that wants to blossom into some sort of event, but I need like community feedback. Metal Shark's been a source of inspiration so far, and has been helping me out with some of the thoughts. But, you know, if you guys are interested, head over to the gaming events channel on the Discord, or even in the bottom of this video itself. Let us know if you'd be interested, what type of event it would be, what type of, you know, how long you'd want it to go on for. There is a local Airbnb which caters for it's got 13 beds in it, and it's literally, it's like a 20-minute walk or a 3-minute car drive down the road, and hiring that for a night is like 100 quid, 110 quid. So between like 10 people, that's going to be like 30 quid for a weekend. It's doable. It really is doable. We've got the space, and it's like what PCs. I've got 3 of them. I could get 3 together, so it's a case of like what equipment. We've got 2 PS4s or whatever, so it's like I don't know. Would you even do a LAN event with PS4s? Do you even get together with consoles and do that? I don't know. Just putting it out there, guys. So hopefully we can follow that up and turn that into some sort of event in future. And that's why I wanted to read that one out. But no, there's the answer to the actual question. Never been to an event. Because I believe that Metal Shark's been traveling, been to Canada. He went to one of the LAN events. What was it that you went to? I can't remember the name of the event, but Metal Shark did go to an event where there was like lots of streamers and stuff. I never thought of myself as enough as a celebrity or as somebody who's like, I'm attending this event, why don't you come and see me, because I'm worth coming to see. I've never thought of myself as anybody as an attraction. Let's put it that way. This sounds ridiculous to me, but there you go. And on that note, this concludes our Discord questions. This microphone's
technical difficulties over there.
I got a floppy on, guys, sorry. There you go.
Don't you just hate it when that happens?
Yeah, it's the worst. Anyway, moving on. We have got the triggered fanboy comment of the week. This week's triggered fanboy comment of the week comes in from user Cameron B. Now, this takes a bit of a setup for this one, right? We made the podcast last week and we were asking a question. We were discussing, and we were like, who are Wizards of the Coast? Who are they? And then we did a quick search. It was like, it's the guys who make Magic the Gathering, right? And own the rights to D&D.
There's a few comments about us not
There was so
that.
much blowback. It was like, how dare you not know this? How dare you not know who Wizards of the Coast are?
Oh, I don't know. And I don't give a shit.
Hang on a minute. Just calm down. Anyway, this is the lead up, right? The first comment was, Wizards of the Coast made Magic the Gathering, among other things. They were also original distributor of the Pokemon card game. I'm genuinely astonished you guys don't know who they are. Firstly, never played Magic the Gathering, never been a Pokemon fan in my life. It's not a big thing like it was in America here in the UK, I don't believe. Pokemon obviously are big everywhere you go, but not knowing the company behind things like that, which aren't technically games anyway, computer games, they're like card games anyway. Not a big sin in my eyes. Anyway, Cameron B doesn't believe so. Yes, I was going to say about D&D and Neverwinter Nights, but someone's already commented that as well. Seriously though, I get that they aren't quite the juggernaut as EA, but not knowing who Wizards of the Coast are while you work professionally in the gaming industry is like a car reviewer expressing that he loves everything Bugatti makes, but he's never heard of a Maserati. Okay, that was his first question. Not comment yet. He's carries on. And then he
bloody hell, how many paragraphs has he written?
Someone came back to him saying it's not exactly the right analogy, that, because there's two cars you're comparing, not like the car maker and someone. Might be a better analogy if you compare a car maker to someone who makes the tires, for example, or someone, And he says, no, your example would only hold true for blah, 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 blah. I'm sure many other reasonable people who don't expect anyone to know everything about everything. And I don't even expect a specialised professional to know everything about their particular field. But it's a staggeringly inept kind of lazy not to take a few moments out to look at just some background info so you don't get caught with your pants down around your ankles and stepping all over your own dick while trying to come off for someone others should respect for their knowledgeable insights. So we are intolerably lazy because we didn't take 2 seconds to research it, which we did while we were doing the podcast, by the way. So that blows that one out of the question.
Live as well.
Obviously, I get that this guy's a fan of Magic the Gathering or Wizards of the Coast or whatever, because otherwise his reaction is way out of proportion and you should just fucking grow up, right? But stepping all over my dick while trying to come off as someone others should respect. I've never tried to come off as someone others should respect, right? I never say you should respect me just because I'm working on YouTube, just because I'm making content on YouTube. If you want to respect me for what I think and what I know about stuff, that's up to you. I never try and get respect just because I'm here doing what I'm doing. Like, mute point, really. I work in IT, and I would never go to a client site where I had some background details about something I hadn't seen before and not even had at least made some attempts to research it if I wasn't familiar with the problem. There's no two ways about it. You look stupid and severely compromise your credibility if you roll up ass in the wind and totally clueless. And my job doesn't even include a necessity that I speak to clients authoritatively about the work I do. Okay, the point he's missed here was the fact that Wizards of the Coast was not even the central point of what we were talking about, right? It was
one mention in a list of other companies.
It was like, oh yeah, it's this, that, Wizards of the Coast, don't know who they are, and it's like, it was not even relevant at that point. It wasn't even that relevant. We weren't here trying to explain to people about Wizards of the Coast or about who they're, what game they're covering, or any sort of controversy, any sort of story around Wizards of the Coast. It was nothing to do with fucking Wizards of the Coast. And it's not like you go into an IT job and not knowing the job that you're doing. It's nothing like that at all, right? You don't know the amount of research that we do. We do loads of research, right? The amount of notes for this podcast alone was like 4 hours work, like 2 hours between two of us. Like, that's a lot of work to put into a podcast. 4 hours of manpower to put into a podcast. Maybe even more than that, right? You did 3 hours and I did maybe 2 hours because I came in a bit late.
I did a bunch the day before as well. Half of which we didn't use because we changed the stories we were covering.
We don't know everything, right? There's some things it might be cultural because there might not be as big in our country, whatever. It might be because we missed them as a kid. Whatever. It doesn't mean we don't know what we're talking about. Anyway, he hasn't finished.
Oh my God, it goes on.
These guys collate, distill, and disseminate gaming information for a living. It's their chosen field. So making a mistake like not understanding some pretty basic context that's easily learnable with a little effort at all is just stupid. We did understand the context after we googled. We literally researched it as we were sat here, dude. Like that, again, a moot point. No one's expecting them to suck Wizards of the Coast dick for 20 minutes. Well, like you do, you mean?
Nah.
But conversely, we're also not expecting them to say, who the fuck are these Wizard losers? We didn't say that.
No.
We didn't say that at all. Some reasonable middle ground would be perfectly reasonable. You think your response is perfectly reasonable? I mean...
It's paragraph after paragraph after what we said, probably about a handful of sentences.
Oh my God, how many words has he written here? Because Wizards of the Coast, I mean we learned stuff, right? Since I've been working in the games industry, I've learned infinitely more stuff about the industry and players in the industry and companies and stuff than I ever did do before. 3 years, I guess, I've been working in generating gaming and news related content, right? I've heard of Wizards of the Coast in the past. That is for sure. The name didn't stick, and it's gone. Just like a lot of information in my head, it doesn't. Also, I don't have a photographic memory like some people, right? The fact that I don't know the company behind the likes of Magic the Gathering and Pokemon the trading card game is not the biggest fuck up I've ever made in my life, and it's not likely to be the biggest fuck up I make today even. And if you believe that I lose respect in your eyes, or I'm not a professional because I've never said that I'm a professional. We just make videos essentially, right? And hopefully it's entertaining enough for people to watch. We never said we were any sort of authority on gaming. The people who watch us like the stuff, and so they come back. We've never said that we're meant to be professional, and I don't actually do this as my full-time job. I don't get paid for doing this, right? I contribute to the running of the gaming, and the most of the money that I get is from like the music and stuff that I do aside from this, right? It isn't really my full-time job. That said, so fucking sue me.
There's going to be a million things that we know,
so many
that you don't know. Like,
if all the things to get triggered about, it's like not knowing the company behind his favorite fucking card game.
If it was like the topic of the conversation, we would spend like half an hour talking about
this company. Wasn't even his last comment. He's got more comments going. I mean, someone was back and forth with them. Hang on a minute, maybe they don't know everything because blah, 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 whatever. People being reasonable, right? And then he came back again. But that's it. That is the triggered fanboy comment of the week, and he wholeheartedly deserves it, Mr. Cameron B. You took this far too seriously, and you took it to as far as you possibly could, and maybe just chill out about things. Like
forgive me for my unique life circumstances that mean I've not played Magic the Gathering.
I'm not as clever as you.
We bow down to thee.
Anyway,
right, should we get some ordinary comments that may be less triggered? Okay, so yes. I got one here from our video about 2K, who sent some private investigators to essentially bully a Borderlands YouTuber And this guy, I just like bringing it up whenever this sort of thing gets floated around. This is from Mythoran. And we thought Randy going to medieval times was bad press. And at any time there's an opportunity to bring up the time he left a memory stick with important legal documents and business documents on, as well as porn, I'm going to take that opportunity to bring it up because I think it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So there you go. Thanks, Mythoran.
Next up, Caleb Perry comments, how have you never heard of Subnautica? LMAO, definitely not an unknown small game. And he's talking about the Subnautica dev saying that G2A owes him 300 grand or whatever. I was actually talking about the game Natural Selection 2, but I couldn't remember the name of the game right now, which was their previous game, which he was. That's what he was saying that they owed them the money for. Which actually, update, turns out it was false because GTA didn't even exist during Natural Selection 2's launch or release or whatever.
Allegedly, there's a bunch of.
So that's
one
an
of
update.
The controversies we couldn't be asked to cover today.
Another thing, we've run out of patience for. But again, he got 45 upvotes. That. How have you never heard of Subnautica? Of course I've heard of fucking Subnautica, dude. It's one of the biggest early access games from the last few years. I've even played it. I even spoke about it earlier. I played it in VR and whatever. But it's just natural. It's just a misunderstanding of that one, dude. So I forgive you. there.
I've got one here from, I think it's from our podcast. Let me just double check. Yeah, it is. So this is a guy who's seen I like it because we're on the same wavelength because I think the same thing. From Cape Fury, and there's a timestamp. So the FCC won't let me be. Oh no, I can't rap this. The FCC won't let me be, or let me see. It's the Eminem song Without Me. That's what it is. Flicking my wires out. I can't rap. Go? So the FCC won't let me be, or let me be me. So let me see. There you go.
Every time Henry.
It's Eminem song Without Me. Great song. I can't rap. But thank you, Cape Fury, because he gets it anytime I see the FCC. That's what I think. So the FCC won't let me be, or let me be me, so let me see. They try to shut me down on MTV because it feels so empty without me.
Awesome. Never try and rap, Henry.
I shan't. I'm too white. But then again, he's a white rapper. So.
The me manages it. Okay, James Robertson. Apologies. Generally love your content, guys, but there's one thing you need to learn.
Oh no, it's not Wizards of the Coast, is it?
Explaining the joke kills the joke every time. Trust your audience is smart enough to pick up on the simple humour you're stopping to explain in detail. Otherwise, keep up the good work.
Yeah, but normally explaining it's funnier as well because it's how shit it is. Which one was that? I can't remember what joke it was.
It was actually on the podcast, so I don't know if he's commented on the wrong videos. I had multiple tabs open.
We wouldn't have done a dad joke in that one.
No, but explaining the joke sometimes, he's right, absolutely right. You've got to, if you're too stupid to get the humour in it, then you're 99% of the internet probably. But you need to learn, you need to get some sense. Have you got another one?
I've got one, but I've just clocked another comment while I was reading. So this is from, I think it's on the podcast as well. Bring us Bob. Pretty crap telly. It's not real. Okay, just that TV isn't real.
Oh.
So look, great pun on pretty good game. Yeah, it's not real.
Crap telly, yeah.
Although realistically, the image quality should be really good because it's just 1080p videos that have been downloaded. They're not running through a screen or anything. It's just being put there and then through whatever you're watching it on. It's just
maybe he means that like the show that we're producing is pretty crap, as in we are pretty crap telly.
Sounds
so if he's watching on his telly.
No, we're not pretty crap. We're pretty good. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. It's just that
we never claim to be professionals.
Exactly.
We never claim to be like industry.
I never asked for this. And fucking what's his face from?
I'll never live Wizards of the Coast down, man. I'll never live it down.
There's so many good ones of that.
Apparently, we said something like, "I got the geekiest name ever." How many nerds did we piss off with that comment? Obviously, we triggered Fanboy comment of the week. That's probably what triggered him. Is saying that Wizards of the Coast are the geekiest name ever.
Well, it is a geeky name, but maybe don't be so offended by me calling it geeky.
Man. Just get over it.
Obviously,
fuck. There's loads of companies I don't know. And what gets me is it was a card game. Okay, I'm still going on about it. I know, but it's a card game, right? It wasn't even a computer game. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons computer games. Yeah, I get that. They made them too, but I didn't play any of them either. It's like, sue me. No big deal. It's not a big deal. I never claimed to be an authority on gaming. People just listened to me for a little bit.
Yep.
Maybe they'll stop listening because you pointed out that I know fuck all.
So I've got my final one here. I don't have too many because I did have a video going up yesterday, just some Resident Evil 2 gameplay and chit chat, very low key, nothing major, but it got flagged 3 times by YouTube for being inappropriate, even though there's nothing actually
Is it gory
wrong with
gameplay?
It. Yeah, so that's going to be what they have a problem with, even though according to their terms it's actually fine. So who knows if they'll ever accept that. I even went through and cut out some of the particularly gory bits. I left some of it in because, I mean, I had some swearing and whatnot, so that probably will never come out. So the comment I actually have is from Dante Varn, and it's on our G2A video, and I like this because it's when people give extra information that we didn't, but it's not mean or anything. XSS stands for cross-site scripting. I feel like putting this here since no one reporting it seems to be familiar with the term. XSS allows hackers to inject code into web pages that will allow them to infect users that visit the site. Nice, because he's not saying, you're really fucking dumb because you don't know what an XSS is. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, have some information, let me educate you.
Yeah.
Because I didn't
not talking down at you for the little thing that you don't know. Such
as Magic the Gathering fucking bullshit.
Fucking arsehole.
Yeah, thanks, Dante Varn. I like learning stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, I've got a question here, right? Sorry, a comment. Which one of you is the one doing the voiceover from the Monza advert? I think it's Gareth. Check it out. Resemblance is uncanny. So I've got the Monzo advert, not the Monza advert. Is this what it means?
What I spend instantly.
No problem. Just give us a go. See?
Can you make instantly? That shows me what I spend instantly.
Is that the one he means?
It's not really voiceover because he's just acting.
It takes less than 10 minutes.
It's less than 10 minutes.
Can you tell me when I'm running a little low on cash?
Can't afford that either. That's a real shame.
Monzo. I mean, he did say Monza advert. This is the Monzo advert.
Well, it's got
Does he mean the voiceover
6 million, well, nearly 7 million views, so it was definitely me, and I've got 6 million views of back.
Okay, let's both say this line. Let's both say this line and see which one of us it is.
You make Monzo Monzo.
You make Monzo Monzo.
You make Monzo Monzo.
Right, which one of us is it, guys?
You make Monzo Monzo.
I mean, we'll leave that up to you guys because I don't see the resemblance.
I don't remember.
Just because we're British, that's so stereotypical. They're so racist, man, against the British. It's like we all sound the same. It's like when people say that a certain race all look the same. Like it's they don't. Like we don't sound the same either. Just it's so. I'm offended. I'm offended. Can somebody write me some tweets, please, and get angry on my behalf, like the internet will do. So that's it for this week. Thanks for you listening and taking part as always. If you want to get access to the podcast, actually, announcement before we leave, podcast is on pause as well as content for next week. You'll be like, oh, have you guys quit making gaming videos? Oh, this gaming channel died like more than usual. You'll have more of them comments than usual next week because we're both going on vacation. Like this time Henry isn't sitting in and I'm not whipping him. He's not in the sweatshop all week while I'm away. Henry's getting a holiday too, so congratulations, Henry.
No, I'm just in the cage. I don't even get the whip to scratch my back.
I'm locking him up so he can't make. No, but we're both taking a well-needed break. What we do on covering all this gaming stuff on YouTube, we get very jaded, right? And I think sometimes we just need to clear our thoughts and go and sit on a beach and get some sun and eat some food. Well, I mean, I like I said, I mean, I'm being forced to do this just up against my will. The wife books the tickets, and how can I not go and support the family in their desire to go away and enjoy like nice weather and stuff? And I wouldn't be fulfilling the role as a father and a husband if I didn't take my responsibilities seriously.
You're going to come back with a tan this time because last time you didn't.
No, it was
rubbish.
Yeah, I got food poisoning last time. Yeah, it was bad. is bad. And maybe try not to eat a dodgy steak next time.
Maybe.
So the content will be on hold for, I think, 10 days. So from Tuesday next week will be the last video. And then after that, there'll be no podcast next week, no podcast the week after that. But we will be back early September, raring to go, fitter, healthier, and less jaded than ever for at least like 2 or 3 days until we get stuck into the gaming scandals and news and controversies or non-controversies that being covering the gaming news entails. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening and understanding that we do need a break, because otherwise we will be burnt out and you'd never see our faces ever again, like a lot of YouTubers do, believe it or not. Remember Liana? I learned that she's quit YouTube now. The one who, my overly attached girlfriend meme. You know, the overly attached girlfriend meme. She was a YouTuber on the back of that, and then she's quit YouTube now. She's like, oh, this is not what I'm doing anymore. She's completely quit it. It's like they're dropping like flies, man. Dropping like flies, these YouTubers. So yeah, we're taking some much needed R&R, and thanks for understanding. We will be back with the podcasts in a couple of weeks' time. Until then, thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time. Until then, bye for now.